everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. We're here on a Saturday. Not usual for us, but damn it, we're here.
Yep, exactly.
We're all here together for once. We look like the human centipede. You take my coffee, you motherfucker.
You son of a bitch.
I'm Dizzle. I'm here with Dutchie.
Yo.
And I'm here with the master of love making himself, E Nasty, E Money.
What up?
We're here for a big one. We got to do our bottom 14 or top 14 best WCW wrestlers of all time. We did the top 50 last night, but we're going to finish that up today. And we're also going to talk some AEW All In. That was this past week, so we're going to get both of these done pretty quick and easy and have some fun with that today. We really enjoyed AEW. Marquee pay-per-view. It's their WrestleMania, their Wembley show. They did 50,000. So we figured we'd do a whole episode talking about it. So we're going to spend, half an episode. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to hit our top 14. Ready?
Yep.
I didn't watch the pre-show. Did you guys?
No.
I did.
What did you think of Nightingale and Statlander?
I thought the mixed tag was pretty good. Watching Willa Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii walk down to the ring, Willa Nightingale's running down there, slapping hands with the fans. Ishii's just doing not doing like the slow walk, like he's a 50-year-old man. Just like, I ain't running down to the ring. Fuck that shit. Guy's 300 pounds. He shouldn't be running. He should run if he wants to get down to like 250. But it was a decent match. Stokely Hathaway played the chicken shit pretty well. Although he hit Ishii with a spine buster, which Ishii didn't sell. So it was all right.
Absolutely. I didn't see any of that, so I'm glad you liked it, Doug.
Yeah.
It's sad that it wasn't on the main card, but they needed a pre-show match.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had enough on the Von Erichs and the Undisputed Kingdom. Was that any good?
I mean, it was pretty good. The opening 16-man tag was
too much. Yeah. That felt like Andre just trying to get everybody on the card, like the Andre Battle Royal or Money in the Bank or something.
Exactly.
So, all right. We start out with what I think is fireworks, and I also feel like this is their version of Money in the Bank to like get everybody excited at the beginning.
Exactly.
Because I will say, AEW, I know I've been critical in the past, but to me, this show is like a perfect representation of what they need to be in the future. Exactly. And if they can keep building the shit like this and putting on, like, I know it's kind of, they've been putting on great pay-per-views. Even when the stories aren't as good, the matches usually are at the pay-per-views. But this one had a different uniqueness to where it felt like it paid off some certain stories too, to where it felt like everything kind of culminated to this on a few occasions, whether it's the Hook Jericho thing or even MJF and Ospreay. Even though it didn't feel like the end of that, it felt like the end of a chapter of that. And maybe they'll get back to it later.
For now, it came full circle because then it goes into the Daniel Garcia storyline.
Yeah,
which is perfect because they need to separate for now.
Well, yeah, and it gives that kid a rub, because it only benefits him being in the ring with MJF. I don't think he'll win, but it benefits him. Yeah. The fact that he's there.
I'm sure it'll get back to MJF and Will Ospreay, maybe even for the world title at some point.
But we start in Wembley with 50,000 with Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club, which is Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. They defeat the Patriarchy with Christian Cage, Kill Switch, and Nick Wayne with Mother Wayne helping them. And the Bang Bang Gang with Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn, and the House of Black with Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black.
You were thinking a team named the Bang Bang Gang. Mother Wayne would be a part of that because she's been bang banged a lot.
Yeah, Doug is right.
You wish this was the last we saw of this group, huh? On this show,
like not just on the show, but forever. Like Mother Wayne just needs to go back to adult films.
Now, one of the things about this card that One of the things about this card that has been praised and talked pretty good about is the match listing. Because I do think, besides something we'll maybe get to later, I think the way they laid this thing out was almost perfect, Derek.
Yeah.
I think they had like the exciting matches when they were supposed to be, even like putting Tony and Mariah on too. Usually that's kind of a wasted spot, but that had the crowd intrigued early.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good
I actually thought that was the first match when I tuned into it. I was that match was on, so I didn't realize the other match happened.
Yeah, the ladder match very much felt like a Money in the Bank, like everybody's getting their shit in and trying to be entertaining. And it was fun, and I enjoyed it. I will say we didn't need the patriarchy if Christian was going to come back out and win the gauntlet.
I thought the right team won. I thought it was more to get Pack's moment in England.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to hold on to it.
Well, so
'cause-
what I had heard, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No worries.
kind of did. What I had heard was that this moment was actually if the Lucha Brothers would have re-signed with the company, it would have been them in there with Pac.
Yeah. Pac just felt weird with Castellanos and Wheeler.
Who's Castellanos?
Oh,
Castagnoli.
thank you.
Well, Cassius Ono was there too.
Well, yeah, he works in the back as a producer. Doesn't he?
Yeah, it was his match, so technically Eric was fucking right. No, yeah, I thought it was fun. I can't give it more than 6 stars because it was fun. It was brutal, like mayhem, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And they do the high spots differently than WWE. It feels like scarier.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of adds to the intense level of the match, and that brings it up. And but it's one of those things where everyone does like 1 or 2 cool things, and everyone kind of gets lost in the shuffle. There wasn't really a standout performer for me in this.
I'm glad that Pac got his moment because I think he's one of the underrated stars in the AEW.
Me too, and the fact he got it in England.
In England, yep, exactly.
Yeah, because he missed he missed All In last year, even though because his contract is different. Because when he goes home, he can't he'll go home to London because he doesn't want to buy property here in the States.
Can't blame him.
Oh yeah, especially with this presidential race coming up. So he won't buy property in the States. So when he goes home, he doesn't want to fly back and forth to.
Yeah, it's not like Osprey where Osprey flies back and forth.
Yeah,
but he's
Osprey doesn't have a home out here.
He might.
He says he flies, but with the whole about grinding, Triple H grinded on the boss's daughter in that promo. He's like, I fly it back every week, bruv.
So Pac is like he doesn't want to do that. So if he has the opportunity to go home to London, he'll tell Tony Khan, he'll be like, hey, I'm staying here for a while. And then so last year, even though All In was in London, when he flew back to wherever he is in England, he stayed there. And they couldn't do like a proper build-up for him for the pay-per-view, even though he fucking lives in that country.
Yeah, he wasn't ready. They weren't ready for him last year. Come back.
So yeah, I enjoyed this. I give it 6 stars. What do you give it?
I give it 6 because I'm happy for Pac.
A couple of 6 out of 10s, Doug.
I'm giving it a 7 just because Cage and his goofs didn't win.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Mariah May versus Timeless Tony Storm.
Story of the year.
Story of the year. I do think this, like when they talk about the placement, I think at first I was like, what? Like this should have been on close to last, I would think. But
I think it should have probably been in the Britt and Monet spot.
I think
it's the bigger title.
It's the bigger title, but come on. Who are the bigger names? Like when you think about it, and yes, this match might have been better. It might have been a better match than Britt and Monet, even though I'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that
later. But when you think about Britt, the face of the company, and then one of the 4 horsewomen, like one of the biggest female stars, Mercedes, to me, that's just more of a marquee match.
I do have a theory about why that match might have gone.
What are you drinking out of?
This one.
I thought it was mine, but I'll go fuck myself. Is that yours?
No.
Okay.
So, I do have a theory as to why I think the Britt Mercedes match may have gone, a little down the south side, which I will get to later. And it's not. I don't think it's Mercedes' fault. I'm putting it on Britt.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the same theory I have about Triple H.
Oh.
Which is because Britt Baker does not really like any of the other women in the women's division.
Yeah. That's true. Only maybe Jamie Hayter.
Her and Jamie Hayter, according to reports I've heard, her and Jamie Hayter don't even like each other.
Oh, wow.
So
she's like the Shawn Michaels of...
Yeah, pretty much.
Is she on Somas?
I don't know, but because she's not, because it's this, when Triple H had the WrestleMania matches back to back, when he worked Roman and then he worked Seth, because he's not close with either guy, and he doesn't give a shit whether or not they get over, or he didn't give a shit at the time. Now he does. He just, he would make the match look like shit. But if he was working with like a Batista or a Kurt Angle or Daniel Bryan, when he knew that Daniel Bryan was super over, or like a Shawn Michaels, he would bust his ass because he knew he could get that match over.
Yeah.
I completely disagree with this theory, by the way. Well, when you give those examples, because I think the Seth and Roman, he was just old. Like the Batista match, when Batista's retirement match wasn't that amazing either. I think at a certain point, Triple H just got too old to be that great.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else. Like when he got to Seth and Roman, I think he was just getting old. Like his heart exploded, like what, a year after that? Like what? Like
about a couple of years after that. Or well, no, about 5 years after the Seth match.
So I think he was just getting a little too old for this shit. But
I just don't think Britt Baker and Monet have good chemistry.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, you might disagree with that about Triple H, but I think with Britt, it's just, I don't even like this fucking person. Why the hell would I want them to get over?
She did have a boo-boo face the whole time. She didn't seem into it. She didn't seem to be like...
She didn't care.
It didn't seem like she was wrestling in front of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
I was expecting like some high emotion. And I thought Mercedes brought all of that.
Yeah.
That's why the people shitting on her. I don't think that performance was because of her at all. I think Mercedes tried her best.
Do you think maybe they were shitting on her because she's quote unquote the bigger star?
Well,
because
I think
she came from WWE, so they're like, all right, we're gonna put it on you. When in essence, it's really not. It's not her fault. It's more the fault of the person who's supposed to be the cornerstone of the company, which is Britt.
I think it's half that, and I think it's half. Any girl that leaves the WWE has a really tough road, and people really want to see him fail. Just like Paige, everyone, like I keep seeing videos, the downfall of Paige needs to be studied. Like people just want to see them leave the big organization and then flop, just like so they can have their Sable stories and their Sunny stories and their China stories. And it's like whenever these women bet on themselves, and like you talk about Ricochet, and you talk about, oh, he's betting on himself because he's going to flip with his stupid friends. But Mercedes legitimately bet on herself, went to Japan, went to all these places, and made herself a name, and that fucking transitioned the character to be her and the CEO shit instead of the boss. And I think she's done a great job. And when people didn't like her as a babyface, she pivoted well and turned it into this heel role that's been working. Like I feel like she's one of the more shit on for no reason people.
Yeah. And I just think because Britt doesn't like Thunder Rosa, but those two have good chemistry.
That's true.
Well, they did.
They did.
But then like they had the issue where like Thunder Rosa got accused of sandbagging somebody, and then Thunder Rosa took herself off the road because of her back injury, and she was still the champion. Like she didn't do a proper drop to Tony Storm, I guess, the way they're putting it, and I can kind of understand that. But then Britt goes and disappears again for good reason. She was hurt.
Yeah.
She disappears for like 10 months, really doesn't tell anybody, which again is her business.
Taking care of Adam Cole too.
Yeah. And so like she is bitching. I've always said don't bitch about somebody doing something that you're more than likely going to do too. Which is Britt Baker took off. Obviously, she had to go out, but so did Thunder Rosa was not, faking an injury. And I'm not saying Britt was either. It's just, to me, Britt Baker is just, I think it's just, she believes she's the cornerstone of the company. And when she sees other people coming in, it's probably a jealousy thing of, okay, they're here to take my spot because they're coming from this other company. To your point about Saraya, her WWE run wasn't that great either because she had the neck injury. Okay.
Yeah, but you have iconic moments in there.
Yeah. She had a few iconic moments. Now
there was a movie about her, for God's sakes. I mean, like, she had a good WWE run. I think she was considered
a good WWE debut, and then it turned into a decent run. But then when she started getting hurt, and then the controversy came out about her, which I'm not going to name, even though I do have a joke for that.
I was going to name him, but I'm not going to.
But I'm not gonna get into it because that's not really what this is about.
She got the wood. She took a trip to the woods.
All right, wait a minute. I'm going the moral high ground here. I just said I wasn't going to do it. A joke.
She went through a slight walk through the woods. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
I had a joke, and I can't believe I'm taking the moral high ground.
The guy wearing the Goofy movie shirt. I think that, but she had a pretty good career there. And then coming here, I think a lot of people try to shit on it and say that she didn't really capitalize on the momentum. I think Sasha's doing the opposite. I think Sasha's really killing it. Mercedes is doing her best. But that's not the match we're talking about. Toni Storm and Mariah May, this has been set up for perfection. I've liked every single story beat throughout this thing. Same thing with Mercedes and Brick. Both of these are parallel, really good. I thought for everybody shitting on this women's division, the two most important stories going into their main show was in the women's division. Yeah. So I really I knew Mariah was going to win. We all did. But that crowd was so pro Toni, and Toni stayed in character the whole time. And and like, you know how they do the Cody Rhodes? They were doing it for her. Toni Storm, like they fucking the whole 50,000 of them. They loved it. Like they were really fucking cheering for her. So
it also didn't help that Mariah slapped her own mama.
Yeah, and when she was doing heel, that's the thing. It's a split crowd, and that's this girl's a rookie, and she knows as much as we have a split crowd because I'm hometown. These people love me. I'm gonna smack my own fucking mother to get heat. And she smacked her mom, and the whole crowd starts booing her. That's a heel, and you've got the blood going. And I thought it yeah, she was trying to be happy for her, and then she was just like scared. And then that makes Toni with like fighting from behind. It's like maybe she'll get it. This is one of the best matches on the card, placement or not. I love that people were bitching about the blood. I didn't mind the blood on Mariah. I thought it made it even more because it made that shot with her with the title that much more spectacular with the blood on her forehead.
Yeah. Exactly. And you would have thought that Mariah's mom was Toni's mom.
Yeah, because Toni was there for her. I thought it was a really good payoff to this great feud, and I thought it was a good moment for Mariah May. And you say that these people can't do stories and can't build anybody. Look in front of you. This was Toni Storm's stooge that no one thought anything about, just like Camille for Mercedes. Like she's just there. But I think Camille's going to be something. I even saw comments like Mercedes is holding Camille back. It's like, get the fuck out of here, you haters.
Just wait. We'll get to that later.
But. Yeah, but no, I disagree with it though. But Toni Storm, this was a henchman, a goon, and she became this like
star,
next level star. This like her own character, this brutal like savage woman. And like the whole thing with Mina last month at Forbidden Door kind of just like set this all up perfectly. Like the whole last 4 months of storytelling with this, even before she turned heel, was great.
And you got what's her name in the middle of it, who's friends with both of them. What's her name?
Mina Shirakawa.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And her in the crowd and all, and the camera looking at her and panning to her, like they did it all perfectly, and they set this up like this. AEW doesn't usually bat 100 on a pay-per-view. This time they did.
Yeah. And God bless Luther.
Yeah, that motherfucker's just there to look like you and take bumps.
Yeah, and fucking like he takes the bump and then he
And then
grabs
he gives him
he
middle finger.
grabs the belt away from Mariah and then goes like this.
That
and
was funny as
It
fuck.
collapses and he's just like, it kind of reminds me of the scene in Everybody Loves Raymond when there's a deal with Deborah and Marie were trying to make Robert jealous by setting his ex-girlfriend up with another one of Ray's friends.
Yeah.
And Ray was trying to tell Robert, it's like, look, they're setting this up. But before he could say anything, Deborah, backfists him in the balls. She's like, shut up, Ray. Well, he's finally able to say something. And when he says something, after he says it, he collapses right to the ground. Like he falls right on the ground after he gets it out. And then like there's this big thing. And then Ray gets back up, says his piece, and then falls down again. And like that's what I kind of remember. That's what Luther doing that kind of reminded me of, because he flips Mariah off, falls down to the ground,
You don't see him.
and then like he's trying to get up to help Tony because Tony got hit with the finish, and he's trying to get up, but it's like he can't do it. But it's just like he is a good addition to Tony's character. I personally now would like to see him kind of switch sides and go with Mariah.
That would be a swerve. What do you think? Did they run it back, or does Tony take some time off?
I think she might get a rematch. She might get a rematch, but it won't be like, I don't think it'll be all out. It might just be on television.
Yeah, I think Tony might take a couple weeks off and then come back just to sell her loss.
Yeah.
I wonder what's next for Mariah. Jamie?
Uh,
Or is she too busy with Mariah?
probably Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah, I would love to see
Yeah,
that.
because now
They're
she.
good friends.
Yeah, I'd kind of like them to be healed together, though. I think. I don't know. We'll see.
I like them together.
I liked Mina though. What's going on? like her promo where she's like all upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Next up, we have, to me, the sleeper pick for match of the card. It's not the best match of the card, but I think this is something that delivered way more than anybody thought they would, and that's what? Why are you fucking waving your stupid finger?
Did we give ratings for the last match?
No, we'll do it after. Hook and Jericho.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to stay consistent here. Hook and Jericho match nobody was really looking forward to.
I kind of skipped at first, but then I went back and watched.
Yeah. Match nobody was really looking forward to, but because this whole learning tree thing fucking sucks. But I do. I did like the thing with Taz at the end.
I thought that was pretty cool. That they did the submission at the same time.
Yeah, I'd give the last match a 8 out of 10. Eric?
I give the match 8.5 out of 10.
All right, Hook and Jericho.
9 out of 10.
Hook and Jericho. Bullshit.
Wait, 9 out of 10 for Jericho?
No.
I can't believe you give Hook and Jericho a 9 out of 10. All right, Hook and Jericho. I thought this was better than anybody would expected with the hey guys and the learning tree. Everybody shitted on this too, but I thought this was a proper payoff.
I
Right?
thought it was a good match for what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid match. I like how they started with everybody beating the shit out of Hook and like the whole underdog thing. And his father, that was the whole thing that's bothered me about this whole thing when they do stuff with Taz, because if you ever lay your hands on a man's son in front of him, let alone jump him with 4 guys, he's going to get up and beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
So,
Taz.
especially the baddest motherfucker ever. So the fact that they've been doing this and he's just sitting there, I was like, what the hell? What are they going to do? Are they going to bring Samoa Joe back to solve this? But at the end, when Taz got up, he's like, I'm tired of this bullshit. And Taz got a moment, and he put on a Taz mission. But Hook had a transmission too, and he tapped Jericho out while fucking. That was a great finish to this match. And then Action Bronson starts playing right after it. I just thought that was a badass ending. They had a nice hug. I thought this was a great payoff for a 6-month feud with the Learning Tree and Hook.
Yep. Exactly. Now I hope the Learning Tree just goes away now.
Well,
Jericho goes differently.
Well, they did the 8-man on Dynamite this week, and like when it was announced, because it was Learning Tree and Roderick Strong versus Hook and members of the conglomeration.
Roderick Strong was in Learning Tree, which is weird.
Yeah, and like people are just like, Tony, come on, we thought this was over with, and he just tweeted back, he's like, trust me, and all the fans responded to him and were like, no, like don't do it. We're glad the story ended. Don't have them in the ring again. But he's just like, oh, it's going to be an exciting match. And it's just like...
I didn't even watch the match.
Did Hook's team win?
Yeah. He hooked the Taz mission on Roddy in the rope, or on Roddy. Roddy's foot was on the ropes, but Audrey ignored it because Roddy was also tapping out. So Audrey called for the bell.
I will say, how about fucking Big Cass getting the Road Warrior pop in fucking England? Those motherfuckers love that asshole.
Yeah. Like
they loved him in Wales and they loved him like here. Like
Yeah.
I guess he's the man in the UK, huh?
Yeah, Big Cass.
Big Bill. They fucking love that guy. Like they did a thing. He's a heel, and they did a thing where he got in the ring and did a big pose just so they could keep getting that pop. And the crowd loved it. Like they basically turned him into a baby face, and he's jumping this fucking little 120-pound kid. And they're like, yeah, beat his ass.
UK fans are definitely different.
Fuck Taz's son. No, yeah. I give this match 8. I give it an 8 out of 10 as well, because I think no one expected it, but it was actually really good.
I give it a 7. It was better than I expected.
I'll say 7 as well.
Okay. Next up, we have the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed versus FTR in a three-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
So I really didn't, because anything that involves the scumfucks, I've got no interest in. I thought this match was pretty decent though.
I thought the wrong team won.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, first of all, the Bucks shouldn't even be, because they work that part-time schedule, so they shouldn't even be fucking champions right now. But because they run the company.
Well, but the thing is, and I appreciate it too, because they were pretty particular about the big babyface wins they gave you. Like you get Hook, you get whoever else, you get Will Ospreay later, and then you get Danielson, and that's pretty much it. And then you get a lot of big heel wins. Yeah. So I like that they did have some, right, Half Doug?
Yeah.
Nice hanging out with Half a Doug. But I think
you complain when you get the full Doug.
Well, meet him. But I thought
great guy.
Yeah.
Very hungry. Very hungry.
Oh yeah. Makes you want to hung yourself. Okay. The Young Bucks are fantastic. No, I thought it was a good match. I thought way better than the Forbidden Door match with the Acclaimed, because I thought that one they actually looked
added to the story.
Well, yeah, but also I thought the Young Bucks looked kind of lazy there, and in this one it seemed like, all right, we're in front of 50,000. We're gonna make a memory here.
And they always have the chemistry with FTR.
Yes. So I thought it was good. I would have liked an Acclaimed victory because they've been really building these guys up.
And they deserve a real title run, as they didn't have it one the last time they had the titles.
I feel like they got a little moment with Caster rapping about the guys, though. Because like doing that in Wembley, like with the fucking the Acclaim, and then like I was into it the whole time. So
but then we got not debut, but the Liverpool guys.
Yeah, which I was a little underwhelmed by. But I'm sure for the British people they loved it. Yeah. I give this a 7.3.
I'll say 6.2.
I say 7.2.
All right. Next up, we have the Casino Gauntlet match for a future AEW World Championship.
Negative 25.8.
He didn't like the ending. I thought this was perfect. I thought
this is a fun match in between all the other matches. This is a perfect spot.
Well, I liked this because this is something that you don't get out of WrestleMania. This felt like a mini Royal Rumble in here. Where
some surprises.
yeah, you got some like Nigel showing up was fucking huge.
The crowd was
They loved it.
great.
Same
And
thing.
Jeff Jarrett got his moment.
Oh, slap nuts.
He got a big old base. He's big in the UK.
I was so happy to see the last outlaw out there kicking ass. And the fact he got Hangman with the guitar shot,
I'm
too.
not a big Jeff Jarrett fan, but I'm happy that he got his moment.
I am a big Jeff Jarrett fan, and seeing him do his shit was fucking awesome. And hit the guitar shot.
Yeah.
And even Karen got some play.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, she's used to that.
And then we got the debut of Ricochet.
Yeah.
Which is kind of underwhelming, but he did get his moment.
Yeah, it was a little
moment, so that was kind of his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. I thought he was good, and he got lost in the shuffle for me, though. I think you can debut him in a better way. I thought even just what he did with Kyle Fletcher on Wednesday, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
was better than his
yeah, just put him out there for an exciting match. I think he got kind of the fact that Okada was in the gauntlet is crazy to me. Like, you spent fucking millions on this guy. But I get it. Everybody
couldn't find an opponent for him, I guess.
And everybody else in the Elite had a big marquee match. Fucking Jack Perry was the co-main, for God's sakes.
I think they're just waiting for Kenny to come back for Okada.
Probably. But to me, Okada seemed like the surefire to win this. If you weren't going to give it to Hangman, it seemed right to have the Elite having a future title shot.
Well, apparently Tony Khan thought otherwise.
I don't know why Christian keeps fucking. I love Christian. I love what he's done, and I don't agree with Doug because I know he hates Christian and the stuff. I think he's done great stuff, but to give him the future title shot does not make much sense to me.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me.
To me, it's like give it to anybody else. I would have especially. I know this might have spoiled your main event a little bit, but I would have gave it to Nigel because then you can have that looming in the background of hey, Daniel Bryan. Or Bryan Danielson, I can take that belt off you whenever I want.
Yeah, that would have been. He would have got a big pop.
That would have been huge.
Like, and that's the thing is that like you could have gone so many different directions, but you basically blew your load on that asshole because like the whole thing. And by the way, Luchasaurus or Killswitch has basically been a disappointment since 2015. Watch Big Brother 17 and you'll know what I'm talking about. But
there's our Big Brother club,
and like he was manipulated by another blonde-haired person, blonde-haired person that loves to get blowjobs, and now he gets manipulated by a blonde-haired guy who loves to get blowjobs to dead fathers.
All right. I think that he did. Yeah, it didn't. I will say the swerve worked, especially sitting here with Doug, because I saw Doug almost become a Luchasaurus fan because it worked. When he came out as Luchasaurus and he's fucking breathing in his face, and I saw Doug perk up like he's gonna beat his ass, he's gonna get rid of him, and then fucking when he fucking beats the other guy up, and Chris, I just saw Doug just go to where his eyes, well, his one eye, where he looks now, to where he just goes from like pure like oh my god happiness to what the fuck. To the
I didn't expect Christian to win. I thought it was
no. I thought that was crazy. It was kind of an abrupt ending too, but
because you still had like 9 guys that still had to come out, but they needed time to. They probably didn't even have 9 guys scheduled because this is one of those matches where it's just like with the Casino Gauntlet, it's the match ends after the first pinfall. There's no elimination.
So, like I said, if you weren't going to do Hangman, I would have probably done Okada, but that's just me.
Yeah, because they need to run Okada and Bryan back after the injury in the middle of that match.
I would have given it to someone a little more exciting. I think the idea of Christian cashing it in whenever he wants.
Are people going to be excited about Christian and Bryan?
Yeah, and it's also like how many WWE guys are getting the belt?
I'd be more excited about a hemorrhoid in the crack and a boil on one cheek and a cyst on the other. I'd be more excited about that than fucking Christian Cage getting the title shot.
I feel like that right now, being in the middle of these two. You're the sister.
Potential
and you're the hemorrhoid?
Yes.
The potential of Okada and Bryan too I mean, not two, but in AEW would have been intriguing.
All right. Next up, I will say this was probably. Did we give this what? I would give the whole battle royal actually an 8 out of 10, 8.5.
I give it. It started off. It was a 9.3, down 2.8.
Okay.
I give it an 8.5.
And like I said, it had that Royal Rumble excitement. It,
Yeah.
like the surprises. It was fun. It was fun the whole time, and everybody got their shit in. What they wanted that ladder match that started out to be, that's what this was. And it had the crowd with every fucking thing. It was awesome.
It was a good break in between the main events that are coming.
Yeah, and it still felt special. So next up, I will say this is the match of the card, 10 out of 10. Perfect babyface versus heel match for the American Championship, now the International Championship again. Will Ospreay versus MJF. I thought this was perfectly executed from the entrances, even though I will say, and Bischoff did give this show a lot of credit, but his one critique that I do actually agree with was you have MJF, he's coming out the American flag, his faces is the stars, he's got the whole, like, he's a patriot, and fucking Will Ospreay comes out to some fucking ninja shit or some like Japanese like anime shit.
Like in
a British flag. Like
Monet came out as a queen, and she's not even from England.
Well, that was a perfect heel move too, because that's like you have to embrace me. Like I like that too. But it's like this other guy's being such a fucking American hero, like to be an asshole in the UK, and then you come out to some fucking Naruto, and it's like, what the fuck?
The ending for Ospreay, the fireworks, the pyro was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I thought the whole match, and it didn't have to be an America versus British match anyway, so it didn't take it away from me.
Oh, no.
I thought the entrance was still cool, and I just watched MJF's entrance, and I'm like, this is legendary fucking shit. And I thought it was perfect.
Triple H stuff.
So I thought those two going at each other, and the match, the psychology, the fucking what's the Petey Williams, Canadian Destroyer, the Canadian Destroyer onto the fucking ledge of the ring.
Tiger Driver? I think.
When he finally hit the Tiger Driver later on, that was Will Ospreay, but MJF hit the Canadian Destroyer onto the apron, and I thought that was fantastic.
MJF's entrance reminded me of like Cody's entrance at WrestleMania.
Yeah, except more dicky. But I thought it was fantastic, and I think it's a 10 out of 10 match. I think it's one of the best Will Ospreay matches I've seen, and
it might be actually his best.
Because he had an opponent that not only did he do all the high flying shit to excite the crowd, but he had an opponent that psychologically tested him and made him look like an even better babyface. Because even if you weren't a Will Ospreay fan, you watch that match and you hate MJF so much because he's such a good heel that you become a Will Ospreay fan. Because I'm not a huge Will Ospreay fan. I hate the bruv shit. I think he's a little too audience pandering. But when fucking him and MJF squared up and fucking by the end of that match, when Will got him, I'm like, you got him, man. We're fucking on our feet and shit. So I thought it was fantastic.
The Tiger Driver, like the spot, he finally did it. That was awesome. Only thing that could top that is giving Christian Cage Tiger Driver on a concrete floor.
Great psychology in the match, though. Like you said right there, the fact that he hasn't hit the Tiger Driver since Danielson, he's felt so bad to do it, but this guy's the right piece of shit. And Brian even was on Dynamite like, do it. So the fact that he did it, it was fantastic.
Exactly. 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
That's the thing. Usually,
that's hard because the main event was great.
And usually wrestling's very subjective, but I think every single person that watched this and that has talked about it and stuff have said that this is the match of the card.
Yeah, it was either that one or the Bryan match.
The Bryan match had all the emotion and shit, but this had everything.
Yeah.
For a classic babyface versus heel match, this had
storyline, wrestling, and
psychology, moves, all that shit. All right, next up, we have a match that got shit on way too much. Mercedes Moné versus DMD Dr.
I think it did get shit on too much. I watched it before we did the show, and I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought
it could have been better,
enough.
But it is what it is. I just don't think they have chemistry that everybody thinks they should have.
And also, this is the only, yes, the match placement was perfect, but anybody going on after the last match was going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It should have been Jack Perry and then this, because the coffin match sucked. It should have been the coffin match and then you do this, and this is the co-main.
I forgot about them.
Trust me, you didn't miss much. But besides a great Sting surprise, that was cool. You knew about that though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I thought it wasn't. I mean, this match was good. I like the entrances. I like Sasha's the CEO. It had that big fight feel to it. Why do we even have him here? We were gonna do this alone. Oh my god, it smells. I hate you. You're a pig. You aimed it at me too. You disgusting fucking pig.
Amen.
Go
at you.
fuck
I
yourself.
said-
I looked at your ass and it fucking went like this towards me.
I like to elevate before I fire.
Yeah, into somebody else. Okay.
You may have to edit that out.
And so would I. Still smells like shit over here. But all right. You ruined the show. I thought this match was it wasn't this shitty, but
I think they're gonna run it back, and I think the next match will be better. I think they're gonna realize they got all this shit on, and these two
so did we.
And these two women have an ego where I think they're gonna go back and put on a better match.
Well, I thought it was good for what it was, and for everybody coming at Mercedes, this is my Mercedes Monet rant. She has been doing great fucking work.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I feel like people just hate her just to talk shit about her and try to like say she failed. But no, the CEO stuff, the heel, because she's like her self-awareness is low. I like that she's like a self-unaware heel that thinks she's the baby face and thinks that it's all her moment and everybody should love her. Like, I think that shit works and it's perfect. And her and fucking DMD has been the best build-up. So I think, like, yeah, the match, it might have been a little lackluster. The crowd was still into it. You still heard DMD and CEO chants and fucking kind of back and forth. And
I do think since the May and Tony's Timeless Storm story is kind of on the back burner now, that this is gonna be more highlighted.
Well, do they need to keep doing this? I don't even know if Britt deserves another shot.
After the way the match went down, and because it was clean, I wouldn't run it back again.
It was a clean finish.
Yeah. So I would move into like I would move into like a Jamie Hayter
or Tony.
Or Tony, that would be good. Or like Mercedes against Thunder Rosa, that would be pretty good.
That'd be perfect. Or her
go with Saraya.
Or her Hikaru Shida.
Yeah.
People been waiting for Saraya and Monet. I mean, I know Saraya hasn't been doing anything lately, but do they even try to do that?
I mean, she's been doing stuff. They just haven't really
highlighted it.
Yeah. I thought this match was at least a 7.5 out of 10. The Eddie Guerrero spots worked. And when she did the chair thing, the fucking, like when Britt did that, was laughing at Camille and waving by, I thought that shit was good. What do you give it, Mr. Gas?
I would give it a 7.3.
I give it a 7 out of 10. And I love both women. So.
I'm a gas man. All right. Jack Perry and Darby Allin in the coffin match. I almost fell asleep.
This match I missed. I totally forgot that this match was.
It blew. All it is a Sting surprise. And it's a great Sting surprise. And I like the Young Bucks come out and they try to burn fucking Darby alive. And then Sting comes out and fucks him up. That part is perfect. And it's a great part. And it got a huge pop out of the crowd. That was a fun thing for the show. Everything else
the red person won. Darby shouldn't have won.
No, not at all. So yeah, it was a
especially because he's getting a title shot.
Yeah,
which I guess kind of makes. I guess Bryan versus Darby wouldn't be bad.
All right,
we're not in a closed room.
I give this a 5 out of. Well, technically every room's closed, dipshit. But I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10.
No rating for me because I didn't watch it.
All right. Next up, we have the main event title versus career match. Very Undertaker and Shawn Michaels like. We have Bryan Danielson is Swerve Strickland. They go 26 minutes for the AEW World Title. Obviously, we know what happens.
The longest match in the card.
I mean, A lot of them went 26.
Oh, okay.
It's combined with the gauntlet. Yeah. And then Ospreay and MJF went almost as long. But I thought this was perfect. It was a great storybook ending. I know you're not a huge Daniel Bryan fan, but by the end of this, you were cheering for him, and we were excited for him to win it. So they did their job great. I think this is the best Swerve Strickland match I've ever seen. I thought he worked his shit really well. It was aggressive.
And
it was
he's
stiff.
better heel. I think he should.
Yeah, him working it as a heel. I like that they did Hangman too, so that builds up to this all-out match, which I think will be good.
That's the best rivalry in AEW.
It's one of them. So
because it's the longest one.
yeah, I
It's been on
have
for what, 2 years? I think
something like that. I've enjoyed this. I think it works. Having Bree and the kids and everything, and him bleeding in the middle of the ring saying "I'm sorry," and then him winning the title, and everyone doing the yes and yes and
Cassiano, Cardio coming out and with Pac, which was weird, but
yeah, but it was not.
it worked.
This was very much a response to Cody Rhodes. It felt like in the WrestleMania 40, and it's like, all right, then we're doing Daniel Bryan again. Yeah, it was like we had both big companies had their two big shows this year, and you got a storybook ending at both of them.
Yep.
This one, but even I'm not saying it's like a discount version of the Cody stuff. This was still exciting and fun to watch, and I thought this was good shit on its own merit. I will watch this, and I almost like this better than the WrestleMania Triple Threat, if we're going to be honest with you.
Yeah, even Bryan himself said this is the best moment of his career.
Yeah, I thought it was really big. I thought all the people, the layout of the arena and the building, I almost thought looked better than last year with 80,000 people. Even though they had 30,000 less, I think it looked better.
Because we knew he was going to win at WrestleMania 30. We did not know he was guaranteed to win this one.
No, but as the match goes on, you start to realize, it was starting to become more and more predictable. Like when Swerve started talking shit to Brie and the family, it's like, all right, I don't think Swerve's going to win.
No.
But I thought he worked it fantastically. I thought Daniel Bryan worked it fantastically, or Bryan Danielson. And when he finally got his moment again and he won, and now like this could be the thing.
Countdown was great.
Everyone wants to act like AEW can be a non-factor, but this is so special and this is a big moment. This enters Daniel Bryan into the top 10 best wrestlers of all time conversation. Yeah. I don't care what you say. He went to another company. He won the big title in front of 50,000 people, just like he did at WWE at WrestleMania 30 how many years before that.
Here's a fun fact. Him and Jericho are the only ones that won WWE, AEW, and ROH.
But also, you think of Jericho. I love Jericho, but he's always been a number 3 guy or a number 2 guy. Yeah. Danielson has been the face of Ring of Honor, the face of WWE. Even when they didn't want him to be, he was the fans' face of the company. And then he came here, and as the champion, you are the face of the company.
You could say he put ROH on the map.
100. When you think of ROH, if you ever did a Hall of Fame, he'd have to be on the first ballot of the first year.
I think he is.
He is in Hall of Fame. Him and Punk are in Hall of Fame.
So there you go. He's one of the greatest Ring of Honor wrestlers of all time. But he was the face of that, and now he's the face of another company as the champion. So he's been on top everywhere he's gone. He is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I don't care if you like him, if you're a fan. I wouldn't say if I died and went to wherever the fuck I'm going, I wouldn't tell them to play Daniel Bryan matches all day. I'd rather watch something else.
I would.
I'm going AJ or Punk or someone way better. But no offense.
I know.
But you have to give him his respect as one of the most successful, because like 50,000 people gathered to watch him to win the world title. 70,000, how many gathered to watch him win the WWE championship? This is big, monumental accomplishments that this guy has been able to do. And he represents the fans, and he represents the nerddom, and he represents the love of professional wrestling. He is the first internet darling, and he cemented himself as at the top of the mountain.
He's going to get his run that he never did after he won the WWE because he got injured.
Yeah, I don't want it to last too long, and then I want a nice young guy to win the title. I really don't want Christian to cash in and retire Bryan Danielson.
I think Swerve is going to win it back from him. Either him or him, man.
He might do the favors to make Swerve look good. And Swerve has nothing to hold his head. Like Swerve, for his first time wrestling in front of that many people in the main event, he looked like a champion and he looked like a professional and he looked like he belonged there. And that's the most important part. And that's the part that they haven't really gotten with him yet. This is the first time that it felt like Swerve belonged in the main event.
Yep.
And he was the world champion. Even walking away without the belt, his stock is elevated. And that's what a match is supposed to do. I give it a 9 out of 10. Professor Baldy?
I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I don't like Bryan Danielson whatsoever, and I really don't like Swerve that much either. And
You don't like anything.
and I don't like Prince Grandma, Prince Nana either.
I came around to him. I didn't like him at first, but
He would be somebody I would fart on. Like,
Yeah, so am I. All right.
I give it a 9.9.
Everybody you meet, apparently, you fucking pig. All right. Well, that was AEW All Out. Overall, I think it's the best show AEW's ever put on, and I give it a 9 out of 10.
I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
I would give it a 9.2 out of 10, and I don't fart on everybody.
Bullshit. All right. Let's go back to our list. The top 14 WCW wrestlers of all time. I'm going to go over the top 50 real quick. All right, don't look at the list. Fuck. All right, we have 50 Ultimo Dragon, then Hacksaw, Road Warrior Animal, just Jushin Thunder Liger, Wildfire Tommy Rich, The Giant, Jimmy Jam Garvin, Meng, Brad Armstrong, Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, The Natural, Dustin Rhodes, The Living Legend, Larry Zbyszko, Michael P.S. Hayes, Sid Vicious, Dean Malenko, Flying Brian Pillman, Rey Mysterio Jr., Cactus Jack, Bret Hart, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Lord Steven Regal, Kevin Nash, Benoit, Jericho, Terry Funk, Scott Hall, Henning, Eddie Guerrero, Rick Morton, Stunning Steve Austin, Hogan at 20, which surprised us all, Road Warrior Hawk, Rick Rude, Vader, Nikita, Simmons, and that's it.
Nikita surprised us all, too.
So now you were gonna let me fucking read off the rest of the list too, you bastard. From 50. All right, now we got the top 14.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Number 14, we have one of my favorites. Even I said that about like 10 guys last night, but we have he's in my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. Lex Luger, the total package.
Wow, I thought he was going to be higher than this too. But Lex Luger is great.
When they say WCW never made anybody,
They made
bullshit, because he might have started in the territories, but he's a Crockett. He is a WCW creation, and he goes to WWE, does the Yokozuna bullshit and the narcissist, which could have been a good character, but he didn't really do much there. Then he comes back and he's a big time player again. My favorite Nitro moment of all time is him beating Hogan for the title with the torture rack and Hogan.
He's from your guy's hometown.
He's from Buffalo. He's a badass. He's a wrestler's wrestler. He looked like a wrestler. He had the look. He could go in the ring despite what people said, and I think he drew a lot of money. And as a baby face with Sting, he was Sting's best buddy. When you saw them together, you knew like shit was going to go down. I just thought he was always a part of good shit, and he's one of the most underrated guys of all time.
Exactly. And your dad met him, right? No.
Didn't meet him, but actually met his parents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I forgot what you said before.
Dad worked for because his father and I guess mother owned a piano store in Orchard Park, New York, and mine and Daniel's dad worked there for a few months, and it was funny because they noticed that like they had the picture of Luger up in the shop, and Dad didn't really say anything. But the second time, he goes up to Luger's mom, not knowing who she was or whatever. He goes, "Are you guys big Lex Luger fans?" And she goes, "We have to be. That's our son, Larry." And he's like, "Lex Luger is your son?" She goes, "Yeah, that's our son, Larry." So, and like they met like the Lex's brother and all that. Comes home, tells me, he goes, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He goes, "I work for Lex Luger's father." I said, "Sweet." And then I told Lex that story when I happened to meet him about
Oh, you met your dad.
yeah. I met him. You were with me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's the first convention I think.
Yeah.
All right, what's your Lex thoughts?
So one of the longest reigning WCW United States champions of all time. Probably one of the greatest United States champions of all time. Former world champion, television champion, tag team champion, did it all in the company. Was a flag bearer, basically led the WCW against the NWO for months until Sting was ready to come back. 14, I don't know. Like, to me, he's a top 10.
Me too.
But I'm just glad he made the list.
Top 20 is still good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad he made the list too.
He deserves to be here, damn it.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, number 13, the Great Muta, 26 votes. It was a tiebreaker. This is an interesting pick, but I think he does mean a lot for the history of WCW,
Yeah.
especially starting out.
The matches with Sting, especially.
The matches with Flair.
And then the tag team he had with Terry Funk, which was weird that like you had Terry Funk and Great Muta as a tag team.
Yeah, he's one of the most inspirational Japanese talents to ever come out,
Yeah.
I think he's Japanese. Hopefully I'm not going to get fucked up.
No, he is.
Okay.
You are correct.
All right. Next up, you ready, my little booba bear?
Yes, sir. Number 12.
Number 12, we have Goldberg.
Wow.
Who's next? I mean, he is they try to say that he's the only one that they've ever. No, he's the last big WCW star that they ever made coming out of the power plant. I know he was great, but he was green or not, Goldberg was a fucking spectacle. And whenever he came, no matter who he had a match with, he had that big fight feel to it. And in WCW is his prime. None of the WWE runs. Some of them are okay. Like the last one or the second to last one was pretty good.
Goldberg.
Yeah, but Goldberg. But Goldberg do it.
That's why I call him now.
That's funny. But I think that he did a really good job as the face of the company, and he did carry it with not knowing what you're doing that well. I think he carried the company pretty well as champion. The match with Paige was fantastic. I still love that Starrcade match with Nash. I don't care what anyone says. And it does feel like their Super Bowl and the most important thing they've ever done when he beats Joe Hogan in the Georgia Dome.
Oh,
you
yeah.
almost said Joe Rogan.
No, I didn't.
Well, you were about to say Joe.
No, I wasn't.
He said show.
You're an idiot. You're full of farts.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
you're a shitty man. But
I know that
That's
too.
one of my favorite moments when you beat Hogan in Georgia Dome.
yeah, it's just there's something you can
And
go
he won
back
the US
and.
title that year.
What are you doing?
Never mind. I know. Well, I had it,
Get out. Go.
I had it.
You're
aimed
off.
Away from
You're out of
you.
the house.
I had it aimed away.
I don't give a fuck
I,
where
well,
you
I
had
didn't
it.
do. I didn't do it. It wasn't. I thought it was coming out, but it didn't.
Something's about to go in with 5 toes.
Should we open the door? No.
Yeah, throw him out of it. But no, Goldberg I think means a lot to the company, and he was the hottest thing going. And like all the Bill Apter, like everybody wanted to see Goldberg in Austin. He was the biggest star for them. He eclipsed Hogan. When he beat Hogan for the title, it was a monumental thing, and everyone loved Goldberg. He was keeping the company alive through '98.
Yeah,
So-
everyone was saying Goldberg.
So you can say what you want. But that guy deserves to be here, and he is a legend of the business.
Yeah. What do you think though of him being in number 12?
I think it's a great spot. No, I think 10's a little. I think it's a great spot for him because you have certain guys that were really the building
I think
blocks.
Wheeler should be ahead of him.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good spot though. All right, next up we have
Number 11.
number 11, and at number 11 we have Rick Steiner. Holy shit.
Wow.
He was a tiebreaker win. I did not think he would be this high. But- And we're seeing his son do some badass shit right now in the WWE with Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
But Rick Steiner is a building. He was there from the beginning almost. When it like really became WCW. The Steiners as a tag team mean so much to to WCW. You know what Scott ends up doing. I'm sure he's going to be here in this top 10.
Better be.
He better be. But Rick,
As far as I know, he is.
But Rick, I thought, was a badass part of the team too. And even when he went on his own, he did some good stuff. And even before that, I liked the Varsity Club and his a part of it. And I always thought Rick Steiner was a part of good stuff in WCW.
He was the whole
11's a little high though. But
I mean, yeah, he probably like top 20 because there's probably guys that are already like down the list that like a lot of people are gonna be like, wait, Steiner's at 11, Hogan's at 20. Like, what the hell's wrong with
I
you?
didn't think we had Goldberg or Lex.
me either. But I like how different this list is.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you give the power to the people. And a guy who's got gas in his veins, basically puts the ballot together. But as far as Rick Steiner goes, like when Scott turned on him and like they were doing the feud,
You're fine.
doing the feud and all that, it was. It's kind of upsetting that they didn't have like a proper match. So we
Yeah, it was, but I thought Rick Steiner did a lot of good work. He, like I said, he didn't get talked about as much as his brother, but he still did good shit, and it was fun to have him around. I thought he means a lot to the history of WCW.
Oh, he definitely does. All right, top 10.
All right, at number 10 we have the Master of the Bang, not myself, but we're talking about DDP. Another guy that when like Goldberg is the only one they ever made. Well, what about Page? I thought Page did fantastic stuff, and I thought he is one of the last like homegrown stars, and it took him a while to pop. And he's one of those guys like Batista that he became a household name like when he was getting old. But even to this day, DDP Yoga is one of the number one yoga. I think it is the number one yoga service that you can use. So DDP is
Probably one of my favorite WCW.
He's one of the best baby faces they ever had. He was the people's champion for them, and him going against the NWO, he was a good guy to fight against them. And he
was before the
RKO. And him and Macho is top 5 rivalries of all time, no matter the company.
Yeah, and also too, I'll even throw it back to good matches he's had with Eddie Guerrero. Had really good chemistry, with Kurt Hennig, Bret Hart. Even when him and Hogan would get in there and go one-on-one, it would be good.
Yeah, with the whole Hogan and Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman feud.
Yeah.
That was a good storyline. Especially because it was the Jazz and Wolves during that time.
Yeah, they were able to incorporate basketball.
Yep.
All right, and I'd like to have it. And Leno, too.
All right.
And that was actually, I did, to be honest with you, I actually thought that was the better match.
I'd like that.
One more time.
Yeah, we don't look fucking stupid. All right, at number 9 with 29 votes, we have as part of the great Harlem Heat tag team and the last WCW World Champion of the company's existence before Vince would fuck it up. We should kick your ass. Booker T. I think Booker T is the last star they ever made, and I think he's someone that the people really had his back. And if you're a masochist and wants to go back and watch the year 2000 in WCW, I think he's probably the only watchable thing on it. Yeah, and when I was doing my rewatch, every time he came on the screen, it's like, oh, thank God, it's going to be something not shitty. And even his stuff in 98, 90, like before Harlem Heat, or even after Harlem Heat, went its separate ways. His stuff for the TV title with Jericho, and he was a good TV champion. And I think he's had a lot of good matches with
Jericho, Benoit, Finlay, and Saturn,
and Rick Martel,
and all that. Like those were all really good matches. And
yes,
he did 2 matches in one night twice,
and like we said, the best of 7 with Benoit.
Oh yeah.
And Harlem Heat literally is one of the best WCW tag teams of all time. Their matches with the Nasties were fantastic.
The Steiners, believe it or not, the Faces of Fear, Ming and the
And
Barbarian.
they did shit with Nash and Hall too, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. I think he deserves to be here. A hot pick for here. Not as hot as the next one though.
Number 9.
Number 8.
8.
As much as I like this guy, and I am a huge Midnight Express fan, beautiful Bobby Eaton.
At number 8, and again, you put it in a group where it's a lot of old school fans. A lot of people are fans of him. So this is what's going to happen. Number 8, yeah, I mean, number 8 might be too high, but also this is a guy that really doesn't get his flowers all that much.
Yeah.
No. He doesn't, and he does deserve it, but he does not deserve it here. But he did some good stuff in WCW. Like, he is a WCW guy, and he's one of the best tag teams of all time in it. But as far as top 10 WCW wrestlers of all time, Bobby Eaton ain't sniffing it.
Well, and what's funny is about 11 years ago, a guy did a countdown where he counted down the top 100. But you can't really find that on YouTube anymore because he used a lot of music that is copyrighted. So they took a lot of the videos down.
Okay.
And he did a top 100. Bobby made like top 50.
Okay.
And so like even that, like if I were to find the guy and put and basically say here's our top 50, here's what we got, he'd look at me, he'd probably write me back and be like, are you high?
Yeah. All right. Number 7 with 31 votes, we have Scott Steiner.
I think it's a good spot for him.
Definitely a good spot. I do believe he belongs top 10.
100%. I love him and Rick. Like we said before, there's not enough good stuff you can say about the Steiner brothers. They one of the best tag teams ever. But by himself, I think he's far bigger star than Rick ever was. And the big Papa Pump and the big Booty Daddy and the nonsensical promos and having Medeja and another thing, one of the more watchable things from WCW 2000 and 99 and that stuff.
I mean, his TNA stuff was even pretty good.
Yeah, but heel Scott Steiner, when he was just being the worst possible person, I thought he was fantastic. And like you said, if you weren't going to have Nash beat Goldberg, I thought Steiner would have been a good choice.
He would have been the guy that I would have thought, because it would have given him good heel heat. Because Nash was again a babyface at the time. So if you're going to have a heel do it, it would have been Scott, because he was probably the top heel at the time.
Yeah,
Nash was the babyface?
Yeah.
Nash and Goldberg were both baby faces because he had the wolf pack.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Scott Steiner, WCW, look it up. It's the best shit. Number 6, another hot pick, but I think someone that definitely deserves it in a way, Barry Windham.
So again, another one. You realize that like he is, by the way, he's not going to be the last horseman to crack the top 10.
Well, yeah.
And so
Probably 2 more.
we'll see. Former NWA champion, United States champion, television champion, tag team champion. Like Luger, he did it all in the company, except for winning the WCW title. But tag team wrestler, his tag team matches with Dustin Rhodes as his partner were really good. Had a really good match with Great Muta where he won the NWA title. Feud with Luger was really good. Matches against Steamboat were really good. Feud with Flying Brian, very underrated back in 91. So definitely belongs on the list. Number 6. I mean, I would probably put him top 10. Even though there's a lot of guys that probably like like if any of them that are still alive or listening to this, they're like, really? Like, what the hell is with the, like, we would probably get a lot of hate mail right now.
Well, NWA maybe, but like WCW, I mean, wasn't the big matches with our matches with Flair like right before WCW?
Yeah, they were about 87-ish.
So I like Barry Windham was the fucking shit back then, but by the time you get WCW, you get, especially like later on, you get the Rap is Crap, and he's in the country group with Mr. Perfect that sucked. So, and you get more of an out of shape Barry Windham. So I don't know if I completely agree, but he is a legend.
To be honest with you, I kind of like all that stuff. So
yeah. All right. cracking the top 5. I think everybody deserves it that's in here from what I'm seeing. But we have the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Snap into a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. He came, everyone's like, oh, Hogan brought his friends. Yeah, but this is one friend that actually fucking delivered. And they got a lot more out of Macho. Like when Vince said, you got to be a commentator, we're going new generation, you don't have anything else to offer in the ring, he was very mistaken. Like we said, he helped made DDP in that feud. And that was one of the best feuds in both man's career. His stuff with Hogan was still good. His stuff in the NWO and being a sympathizer, but also fighting the NWO. His matches with Sting. I think Bret Hart, he was always a part of something special, and him kind of going crazy, and even the Team Madness stuff when he was going nuts, I thought was really good.
What up, Mach?
Yeah, so I always thought Macho Man shit was pretty impressive, and he always felt like a star whenever he was out there.
I mean, top 5. His stuff with Flair, I'll never forget going to a show. It was the Ilio DiPaolo Memorial Show back in '96, and he goes, he's wrestling Flair, and they have this really good match. They were co-main, and before the match, he says to Flair, he says, I'm gonna kick your ass, yeah. And when he beat Flair, he pulled down Flair's tights and rolled him over, pinned him, had a handful of tights and won. And Bappa comes up, Bappa says to me after the match, he goes, he said he was going to beat his ass. He didn't say he was going to show it.
That's funny. Yeah, Macho Man deserves to be here. All right, number 4, with 39 votes, we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah, this is another one. I mean, this is like what I was talking about last night. Like they were really going into that, pre-NWO version of WCW. That because a lot of these guys are.
Well, besides Sting, he is the top babyface of that era.
Yeah,
and the matches with Flair are technically WCW, right?
Yes.
So, and those are all classics. So that trilogy and everything he did, the shit he did with like Stunning Steve Austin and Pillman and Rick Rude. He had a bunch of great matches there, and he was their best bout machine for that period. He was the guy that you could get a 5-star no matter what you did, and he wasn't just a high flyer. He was probably one of the best underdogs to ever lace up a pair of boots.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Number 3. You ready?
Top 3.
Top 3.
I almost forgot about the 4th horseman, Arn Anderson.
Oh, yeah. This one, like when I saw how high he was going to get on the countdown, I was just like, all right. I mean, I personally think he deserves it. There was a point where it almost looked like he was going to be number 1.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, well deserved, because he was the workhorse of WCW for as long as it existed. And like I said with the Kurt Hennig thing, when he gave him his spot, it felt special. When he's like, "You get my spot," and like when he was like, "Oh, I forgot about the 4th horseman, Ric Flair." Whenever he's one of the best promos in the business, because he had the Jake the Snake Roberts calm, just talking to you thing, but he was so intense in a different way, and he didn't have to scream; he could just talk to you. And his matches were always 10 out of 10. He's one of the best tag team wrestlers ever. And he just got great emotion out of everybody he was in there with. True genius of the business.
When he turned on Dustin Rhodes at that Bash at the Beach '94, he said to him, because they're like, Arn, what were you doing? Why'd you do that? And he goes, I'll tell you exactly why I did it. Like, Dustin Rhodes said he wanted the old Arn Anderson. Well, the old Arn Anderson would slap his own granny. So I gave him what he wanted. He wanted the old Arn Anderson.
And he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his stuff with Cody, right? Not now, but his stuff with Cody and AEW was fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good manager. Having Arn there is always special and important. Arn's the man. I'm glad that he got this nod, because most people don't give it to him. He is another one of the more underrated, because when you're standing next to Ric Flair, it's easy to get overshadowed.
Yeah.
But he deserves all his flowers and more. No, when we're talking about the top 2, we already know who the top 2 are going to fucking be. This is the most predictable part of the list.
Kangan and Buff Bagwell.
Buff didn't make the list. That's insane.
I'm actually surprised that Buff didn't make the list.
He got shit on.
is if he was a toilet bowl.
That makes
guy.
sense. All right, number 2 is Sting. A lot of people think he might be number 1.
Yeah,
Including Doug.
I didn't know which one it was going to be.
Oh, I'm pissed that it's not him, but
He is truly
Should've been number 1 too.
he is the Undertaker of WCW. The
Yeah.
anchor, the guy that never left, never floated, never got bought, always was there for the company. He was the perfect guy to go in the storyline with Hogan to fight for the company with the NWO. He always drew the most money. He was the top baby face throughout the whole company's tenure. As Surfer Sting, as Crow Sting, he always evolutionized. When he joined the Wolfpack, it was awesome. I think everything that he's done has meant something to WCW. And even like when he shows up in AEW, it means the most because it's like he is the guy that was not a WWE guy. So when he shows up, it's like he deserves to be here. He is the best wrestler to ever wrestle outside of WWE. So I think Sting totally deserves his flowers, and he totally deserves.
Would start for 3 different companies.
He should probably be number 1, but we understand why the man who is number 1 is. But Sting means the most to WCW.
I mean, it's understandable, but it's still very like that's. By the way, it was a separation of 2 votes. And if the yeah, I am. It was a separation of 2 votes, and if the 2 people who I used as tiebreakers would have given votes to Sting, and that because they gave votes for both Sting and Flair, I was actually going to cheat and put Sting at number 1.
But you can't. You had to hold up the integrity, and now Sting is number 2, but Sting deserves his flowers.
Did I even vote? I forget.
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Say if you didn't, you're fired.
Thank you, Sting.
Yeah.
All right, number 1, we have the greatest WCW wrestler of all time, and to a lot of people, the greatest just wrestler of all time, even though that's not an opinion of anyone in this house but me. Ric Flair.
Who technically is a number 2.
I get it, and I get hating on him, and I understand, but when it comes to meaning something to a company, he was WCW. The only reason I would put Sting over him is that he was bought by WWE. And he became the one. Ric Flair became WWE's one excuse when they're like, dude, WWE ignores everything outside of WWE. And they're like, wait, no, we say Ric Flair's good. So no, we don't. Even though we ignore the whole history of professional wrestling that didn't happen in New York. But Ric Flair. So here you go. Woo. And that's kind of bullshit. But Ric Flair, if he had never gone to WWE and he just stayed with when WCW stopped, he stopped, it would have made sense because he was WCW.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why he went to WWF at the time instead of staying with WCW. Because if he didn't, he was more than likely going to go to jail for murdering Jim Herd.
Yeah, and I don't blame him, and he had an amazing run when he went. But when he came back, it felt right. It felt right for the Horsemen to be fighting the NWO. I wish he would have got more moments, but he even had world title reigns like later on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Flair was doing great pay-per-views. He always meant a lot to the company. Having him there, he was that face, just like Sting was. Those two are interchangeable. And for those two to be the last WCW match that was ever put on makes sense.
Yeah. And here's another thing about Flair.
Woo!
You talk about all his world title wins and all that. Classic matches: Steamboat, Sting, Savage, Hogan.
Underrated ones. He had a good match with Conan one time.
Yeah.
That's the best I've ever seen Conan.
Yeah. So, and you look at like a guy like Vader. Yeah, he got shit on worse than Bagwell.
Damn.
So but with Flair, comes back to WCW and basically gets told by Ole Anderson, who's a friend of his, he's like, Rick, you're old news. Now, Ole Anderson, a man who has been a grumpy old man since the age of 21.
R.I.P.
Yeah, definitely R.I.P. I've got nothing against Ole Anderson because I've been a grumpy old man since I started growing a beard back at the age of 3. But like Ole, just like, yeah, Rick, you're old news. Like, you got to pave your way for the young guys. So Flair's answer to that was get Ole fired, become the head booker, and make sure he took all the main event spots.
Yeah.
But it was well deserved on his part because they knew they could trust him to have really good matches.
Absolutely.
I mean, he even had a series on WCW Worldwide back in '94 with Regal, where they did champion versus champion for the world title, because that was like a main storyline on Worldwide.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I thought he was always a part of special stuff.
Yeah.
Especially like when Hogan came over, it was natural. The first guy he wrestles is Ric Flair. It just made the most sense.
Well, yeah, because Flair actually helped get him over.
So, yeah.
No matter what Greg Gagne says.
So that completes our top 50 WCW wrestlers. I hope you enjoyed it. What are we doing next week, guys?
Well, technically, wasn't it supposed to be Eric that picked because he won a contest or something? But he's going to be late anyway, so.
Yeah, well, we can hold that back.
Okay. Well, then next week, you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do next week?
A live bikini wax.
Yes. So we'll see everybody next time. No. Next week, what we're going to do is a wrestling review for you. And we're going to do WWE Royal Rumble 2003.
Okay.
I was going to say, like, have we even, like, seen that?
It's been years, and we haven't talked about it on the show. So,
yeah.
And I think Clemens will be back.
So we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah.
So we'll have 4 people next.
Clintus and his bad audio quality.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you too.